Yo, what's good, homies? It's a new week, and that means we have another episode of Fightland to break down, and what an episode it was. This is episode 4, and that makes this the halfway point of the season. So let's get right into the craziness, but before we get started, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Don't be a stranger, be my homie. Now, this week's episode, titled Protect Yourself at All Times, starts off with Duke and Zeke invading a Russian bathhouse looking for Nikolai. And they don't find Nikolai, they find Sergey in the back instead. And Sergey's doing the tough guy thing, he's talking back, he ain't gonna tell him shit. And Zeke wants to fucking put hands on him, naturally. But instead, Duke interrupts him and proceeds to beat the shit out of him. Now, this just wasn't a normal beatdown. Duke slams Sergey's face into the hot rocks used in saunas to create steam, then viciously stomps this man at least 12 times before Zeke has to tell him to stop. Zeke takes his mask off and wants the Russians to know it was the Marshalls. And as him and Duke leave, he tells Duke to remind me not to get on your bad side. Duke meets up with Lazaro, and the two of them have a quick conversation about him and Zeke just now hitting the Russians. Everything is going to plan according to Duke, but he also tells Lazaro that Kingsley is missing. Lazaro gets pissed and asks Duke when he was going to tell him, as if Duke was trying to hide that information. Duke said, "I'm telling you now," which is a better response than I would have given, because what the fuck do you mean, when was I going to tell you? Now, Lazaro says something to Duke as Duke's leaving for the gym about not being the only one taking risks being here. Duke asks what he means, and Lazaro just says nothing. Now, something is clearly bothering Lazaro, so it's something in his backstory that will probably be coming to light before the season ends. Zeke and Sabella have a conversation about showing his face to the Russians, and Zeke thinks this will get them the respect they deserve. Sabella is losing her control over Zeke, and he feels like the family has never respected his effort. She tries putting on the big sister hat and wants to cancel the 10 bell ceremony to honor Simeon and the jackhammer interview. Zeke is like, nah, we're not backing down. Sabella wants to at least double up on security just in case anything happens. And Zeke is like, fuck that shit, you don't run nothing anymore. Now, Zeke doesn't want the certain look of having extra security around, but after what he's done, does he not expect any type of retaliation? This just shows you Zeke does not think about what comes after. Next, we cut to the Russians, where Sergey is getting patched up. Sergey and Nikolai have a conversation, and Sergey wants Nikolai to get revenge for what the Marshalls have done. Sergey refers to Sabella as your black bitch when Nikolai gets a text and suggests to Nikolai that he should have a vet put her down. Nikolai responds by telling him he will wire his jaw shut if he ever speaks to him like that again. Nikolai suggests that the Marshalls will pay a fine, but Sergey wants blood. Now we have Duke walking in the gym, minding his business and ready for work, when Jackhammer says something slick and the two of them have a bit of a back and forth. Duke tells him to come see him when he wins the title, and then Jackhammer responds, making remarks about Duke's brother and how it's too bad the brother with the most heart is the one in the ground. Like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe what I just heard, so I know Duke couldn't believe it either. At first, I didn't understand why Jackhammer would say such a thing, like to openly tease Duke about his brother in a gym full of people, but then the camera cuts and you see Zeke on the other side of the room and already got his phone out with the video recording, so you know what time it is. This was just a big setup. Duke drops his bag and moves toward Jackhammer, and the man in blue tries to throw a pair of boxing gloves at Duke, but Duke smacked that shit away and was like, fuck them gloves. Now, speaking of the man in blue, I don't think they mentioned his character's name in the show, but his real name is Michael Venom Page, MVP for short, and he was kind of a beast in his prime. Duke takes a wild swing and misses, takes a few more, and misses some more. Jackhammer hits him with a quick jab, ducks another punch from Duke, and counters with another punch. Duke finally lands a 1-2 combination of his own before he abandons the boxing altogether and goes for a takedown. He's about to start the ground and pound before MVP and another man break up the fight. Once both men are back up on their feet, they toss a few more words at each other and Duke walks off. And of course, Zeke takes the footage and posted it online. After the fight, Duke finds himself back at his father's gym and back inside the ring doing a little shadow boxing when his homie Jay walks in and starts doing a little pad work with him. But Duke gets taken out the zone when Jay says the phrase, "the only round that matters is the next one." Duke could then see his brother looking at him from ringside and he gets taken out of it. Now back at Sabella's office, we see her on the phone with Nikolai and he's telling her that he's no longer willing to give up Sergey and there has to be consequences. We see Scott walk in her office and he says he wants to work together, but they're going to need a lot of backing and that requires capital. Now, if you don't see the scam coming, I suggest never go into the crime world, because I think this man is about to take all her money. Duke gets home and his father lets him know that he's now a social media star after his fight with Jackhammer went viral. At the gym, Zeke and the promoter from last week are FaceTiming each other about setting up a fight between Jackhammer and Duke. Jackhammer walks in the office and doesn't really want to fuck with Duke like that. He knows the footage that went out viral was doctored, and he doesn't want to be in the fake news business. And Jackhammer tells Zeke he doesn't really want to fuck with Duke like that. He's not a regular boxer. He's something different. He's more animalistic, and he just don't want no parts of him. Zeke tries reassuring Jackhammer that this is all for his benefit, but when Jackhammer threatens to walk away, Zeke then threatens Jackhammer about fighters getting hurt and coming up missing and doesn't want to send a hammer like that. Jackhammer tells Zeke that Duke is a psycho and doesn't want him fucking up his brand, and Zeke responds by saying, "I got you, champ." Now we see Sabella taking money from the family accountant's office. Now this money hasn't been laundered yet since the casino's in rough shape, but she plans to buy a house and flip it through a shell company. Okay, I guess, I really don't understand. But this leads directly to our next scene. Sabella and Joy have a conversation, and the house that Sabella bought was from underneath Joy, and I think Joy might have been trying to use this property to escape to, because Joy mentions she wants out of the family and out of the family business. Sabella hits her with the family needs to stick together and you're not going anywhere, and threatens her with the accidents happening, and Joy warns her about coming in between her and her son because she might wear designer clothes, but she will put Sabella's pretty little face through the fucking wall. Joy leaves, and having already telling Aiden he could stay the weekend, he stays with Sabella. Sabella also tells Joy that she's taken over the family portfolio and all Joy's business calls have been redirected to her. Joy shows up at Duke's place and says she wants to run away with Duke, but he's caught off guard and kind of zones out. Zeke is texting him during the convo, making it seem like he doesn't care, and she storms out. Afterwards, Duke heads out to the gym, and it's a wake for Simeon, the 10 bell ceremony. Joy finds out from her friend Jasmine that Zeke had been running around bragging about kicking the shit out of some Russians in the bathhouse, but she doesn't know who Zeke was with. Afterwards, Duke heads out and he tried contacting Joy, but naturally she doesn't want to talk to him. Duke gets a phone call from Lazaro, but is interrupted when Kim drives up and offers him a ride. Lazaro was parked down the street and makes Kim for the cop that he saw at the hospital. Kim and Duke are having dinner at Gaze's house. Gazer arrives home and she offers him the rest of her food and he accepts. He then breaks out Duke's baby pictures and it's a nice moment for a hot second. Gazer then heads off and the two of them head out to the club. But before leaving, Kim notices a ski mask in Duke's bag. Now at the club, the two of them are having a good time drinking and dancing when Duke starts to get weird, and it seems to me it's like he's having a panic attack. So he leaves in the middle of dancing and goes to find a seat. Duke tries to blame it on the alcohol, but Kim can see the heartbreak on his face because she deals with it too. They bond over their grief for their siblings, and then it's back to cop mode when she starts asking about Kingsley. She wants to know how they met and what he saw in Duke. Duke says that he's fearless and that he never stops. She then asks him if he's hurt people before. He just responds with a question of his own. Do I scare you? She doesn't answer. She just leans in. He asks her what she wants, and then she kisses him. And back at her house, I think we can all fill in the blanks what happens here. Afterwards, they kiss each other goodnight, and Duke rolls out. Immediately, and I mean immediately after he closes the door, Kim is on her work computer looking for Russian bathhouses. Once Duke gets outside, he's held at gunpoint by Lazaro, who has to tell him that he is fucking with a cop. Lazaro thinks Kim's been playing him this whole time and that they've been getting information on him this whole time, when in reality she really doesn't know anything, but he don't know that. So Duke is going to play it like they're just going to play her too. Kim goes to the bathhouse to ask about the man that was with Zeke during the robbery, and try to get physical, but she ended up beating this man's ass. Kim cuffs the man to a chair, but little did she know he set off a timer to a bomb. She got about 90 seconds to get answers and get the fuck out of this room. The guy tells her he doesn't know a name, just that the man was big and that he didn't stop. So I think it's safe to say that she knows Duke was at the robbery now. Now we get to our final scene of the episode, and it's a good one. Now Duke is watching an interview with Jackhammer take place on stage when Duke sees his dad and Jay walk into the gym with Rox, the young lady Gazer trains who happens to be a fan of Jackhammer's. Duke tries to warn Jay that they can't be here, Gazer ain't really listening to what his son is saying and just heads to the front of the stage anyway. Meanwhile, you got some fucking Russians coming in, and they all got like bats and poles and knives and shit. And these Russians came in deep. Now, while all this is going on, Joy is packing her shit. She's getting the fuck out of town. She got her passports and bags packed. She's ready to get gone. The Russians come into the gym and just start fucking people up. And what do you think Zeke does? Do you think he pulls out a gun, just start blasting people, picks up a pole himself and starts hitting people over the head with it, steps up to fight? No, he heads to the office where he has a key to a motherfucking safe room. During the mayhem, Duke tries to yell at Gazer to try and get rocks out of the gym. So we got Duke fucking shit up, MVP fucking shit up, Jackhammer fucking shit up, and he even makes a comment when he and Duke end up fighting next to each other about this situation not making them friends. Duke hears Jay yell out his name. His father has been stabbed and is bleeding out on the floor. Jay tells Duke to call an ambulance, and he takes out his phone and it's Joy calling him. When he answers, Joy says, "Duke, our son. They've taken Aiden. Duke, they've taken our son." And cut to black. That is our midway point of the season, episode 4. Protect yourself at all times. And I think this episode was really needed. We needed something to up the drama and the action going into the second half of the season. And I think this episode did just that. And that's going to be a wrap from me. What did you think? Did you like the episode? Leave a comment down below. Are you enjoying the season so far? And remember, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Be safe and peace out.